Hello, this video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon and my members on YouTube. Minasan, arigatou gozaimasu. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily good life meditation, an exercise that I do each and every morning a little bit after waking up. It's now 5:03 a.m. Boy, I'm running way behind. I use this time to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can get a copy of from the link down in the description. I recommend the hardbound edition. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours, including last night, to see how I did with the various challenges and opportunities that I met, even those that I might have encountered while I was asleep, if I can remember them. Usually that means that I'm not sleeping and awake, tossing and turning. That's the kind of encounter at night. I prepare for the coming day, and then I ready myself to die. But before I do any of those things, I like to read a poem. And today we're going to read a second time from Edward Thomas's collection, the poem titled The Barn, which I think I have largely figured out except for the last stanza. There are three characters here: the person, the poet, who's talking, the barn, and an old elm tree. Is it an elm tree? Elm tree, yeah. And the poem speaks to the relative character of each. The barn and the man are of about the same age. The elm was young when the barn was built and the man was born. The man and the barn are quite old and run down. The elm is mature but doing well, but about to be cut down. And there are various thoughts relative to that. Let's read. The barn. They should never have built a barn there at all. Drip, 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 under that elm tree. Though then it was young, now it is old, but good, not like the barn in me. Oh, I guess the drip, 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 it's dripping the water constantly, and that's contributing to the decay of the barn. But the elm, they may not have realized, that's why it says they shouldn't have built it there, but they might not have realized it when they built it, because the elm was young then. Tomorrow, they cut it down. They will leave the barn, as I shall be left, maybe. What holds it up? 'Twould not pay to pull it down. Well, this place has no other antiquity. Oh, you see that they're going to cut it down, but then the man in the barn will be left, maybe. What holds it up? It's obviously in quite disrepair or degraded. And it wouldn't pay to pull it down. Who's going to spend the money for that? But he notes there's no other place, this town here, this community, has no other antiquity other than this barn. So it kind of makes sense. It's history. No abbey or castle looks so old as this that Job Knight built in '54. Built to keep corn for rats and men. Now there's fowls in the roof, pigs on the floor. What thatch survives is dung for the grass, the best grass on the farm. A pity the roof will not bear a mower to mow it, but only fowls have foothold enough. Starlings used to sit there with bubbling throats, making a spiky beard as they chanted, as they chattered, and whistled and kissed, with heads in air, till they thought of something else that mattered. Here's the last stanza, the one that I'm struggling with. But now they cannot find a place, the starlings that is, among all those holes in the roof, I think, for a nest anymore. It's the turn of lesser things, I suppose. What? Once I fancied 'twas starlings they built it for. Oh, wait a minute. It's the turn of lesser things, I suppose. Once I fancied 'twas starlings they built it for. I don't get that. Anyway, let's give the whole thing a read from a run at it, shall we? See if we can get this spoken. Even if it's not fully understood yet. The barn. Hold on. The barn. They should never have built a barn there at all. Drip, 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 under that elm tree. Though then it was young. Now it is old, but good, not like the barn in me. Tomorrow they cut it down. They will leave the barn, as I shall be left, maybe. What holds it up? 'Twould not pay to pull down. Well, this place has no other antiquity. No abbey or castle looks so old as this that Job Knight built in '54. Built to keep corn for rats and men. Now there's fowls in the roof, pigs on the floor. What thatch survives is dung for the grass, the best grass on the farm. A pity the roof will not bear a mower to mow it, but only fowls have foothold enough. Starlings used to sit there with bubbling throats, making a spiky beard as they chattered, and whistled and kissed with heads in air, till they thought of something else that mattered. But now they cannot find a place among all those holes for a nest any more. It's the turn of lesser things, I suppose. Once I fancied 'twas starlings they built it for. I get it. I think I know what he means by that last stanza. Once I fancied 'twas starlings they built it for. The barn itself. Maybe as a young person they fancied that the barn itself was built for the starlings. I'll live with that. That was good enough. I stumbled just a little bit at that one part, but I think I got it. Nice poem. I like it. All right, so last night and yesterday. I slept fine last night. It was a rainy night. Raining in the evening, rain all day. I was a little worried about my boys because they refused to go outside to pee in the evening. So they seemed to be doing okay, though. I opened the door to try, but they wouldn't go out. They don't like the cold and the wet. Guess they can hold it, but as soon as I'm done with this, I'll try again. I guess it's good then I have that. And those are the kind of worries that I'm having at night, is the worries about the welfare of my dogs. I took the day off from work yesterday and practiced the day of retirement. I'll show you. So every day I have, here's a typical work day. So the work day over here, this is the stuff that I do personally. This is the date, the number of days left I have till I'm retired, and then the Good Life Creed count. And then over here, this column is all the stuff I want to do that's personal. Now, it looks like a lot. It looks like I'm spending a lot of my day, and this is the work column over here. It looks like I'm spending all my day doing personal stuff. It's not the case. I get up at 4 a.m. every morning. I'm very ambitious from the start of the day. Normally, I'm about down to here when I start my work day over here. So I usually am able to knock all these out. I sometimes have one or two down here at the bottom that I'll work on during my breaks and at lunch. Or if I don't finish it, I'll carry it over. Whatever doesn't get across to it gets carried over to the next day. And here's all the stuff I wanted to do to work, and then some various notes that I had. That's a work day. This was yesterday. I wasn't feeling well, so I took the day off. I wasn't too bad, so I did do a lot of stuff. Most of this is the same stuff that I finished early, but some of these things were tasks in here that I took advantage of the day off and were pretty ambitious. I located a typo that I had spotted in one of my book readings in Going Alone. Found it, updated all the documents, and it's pushed out, cleaned up. Worked on the Lyles Brother channel, updating descriptions on that. I pumped out about 8 YouTube shorts from recycling from old videos. It's a project that I'm working on. Read a whole lot, sat in this chair and read a lot. I sat at opened the door of the kitchen and read with the door open with the rain falling outside. That was nice. And then I had, here says day off. This was a practice for retirement. I used it. I wanted to see how I could use, if I could measure out the day and execute the day and feel good about it. I felt great about it. It was good. So I'm going to take the day off again today. I still got the pain in my throat. It's a good time of the year if I'm going to use some of my time off. I have lots of it. Haven't used it in most of my career. I rarely take days off, but I've got a lot of, so I'm going to take it. It's a slow time. A lot of people are out these holidays, so day off, and here's my list of things to do. And it's day 360 days to retirement. Yumiko tells me I shall not work a day more than that, or at least at this job. Although I'm entertaining the idea of curating my resume and my skill sets, and maybe do some part-time analyst or project management work after retirement is done, something that I can do remote from Japan, just to help fund things along. We're still a couple of years out from being able to access our Social Security, so we will be able to retire now. We'll have a pension and our savings, but it'll be a little bit tight until Social Security kicks in at 62. So maybe I'll do something else. So we'll see. Yesterday was a great day. I feel really good about it. I could have used a little more exercise. It was because of the rain that I stayed in. If it had been a nice day, I would have taken my backpack and my book, etc., and gone for a nice walk and read in the park or something like that. Oh, and the other thing I worked on was illustrating. This is for my friend, I can never pronounce her name right, Jelana from Kansas. This is a new copy of Going Alone for You. You and Elaine, if you're out there, you're both getting new copies. I illustrated this. And Elaine, you had mentioned interest in Freeway Bible Study. If you see this, so you're going to get a copy of that. So I was working on Juliana's illustration for her new copy, updated and everything. And Elaine, the new copy will have fixed that one error, the duplicate error, of course. And you can do with it as you see. I'll put some sand in it too from the beach. You can do with it as you want. I won't sign the second one to you. I won't put your name in it if you want to give it to somebody else. But that's my appreciation for the two of you. For you know why. All right. That was yesterday. It was a good day. Let's do the Good Life Creed. Oh, the way I'm going to do this, I knew I was thinking of something. The way I'm doing it now is I'll lay out the 8 objectives and 35 principles. I'll mention each of them, but then each day I'm touching in depth on one of them, and I really like that. Yesterday I did objective number 2, the good use of time, and the day before that I did being always ready to die. Today I'll do objective number 3, development and maintenance of good and sound life principles. So let's begin. I have a reason to do this. 1, to be always ready to die. These are the objectives. 2, to make good and effective use of time. 3, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. This is an important objective if we are going to use our own wits and energies to put together guidance and wisdom that we can use to turn to and refer to in the execution of our living. Now, of course, it's easy to turn to other authoritative sources. Religions are happy to give you their creeds. Likewise, culture is chock full of them. Social institutions, well, you can find them all over the place. Even television shows can have their ways. But what I recommend is that if you're not abiding any of those in particular, like I found myself at age 16 when I stopped being a Christian, I was left in a position of, well, now what? I haven't got anything to guide myself with. So I latched on to Henry David Thoreau's Walden, which does not include a creed of any sort, but he did include some basic principles about self-reliance and independence, independent thinking, acting, strength of will, force and importance of education and lifelong learning, etc. So it was a very loose creed in a way. Plus I had the core values that instilled upon me by my parents and my community. It wasn't until I wrote Going Alone that I finally decided that I had written Going Alone first, and I had added, the Good Life Creed started off as 5 principles. But then I slowly began to build it until it became the 8 objectives and 35 principles it is now. These are my reference point in executing my life. So that's what I recommend. And I don't, in this particular objective, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. Let's dissect those words. To develop, it takes hard work to develop it if you don't pick up somebody else's. And you're welcome to have my creed if you like, if it helps. A lot of what's in there I borrowed from elsewhere, particularly from the Stoics. Develop and maintain, which means you have to keep at it. That's why I do this every day. I look at them every day and I think about my objectives and principles. Good, meaning that they are reflective of and encouraging towards virtue, where virtue is simply defined as efforts seeking after the well-being of improved well-being of thinking creatures. To develop and maintain good and sound life principles. Sound being not hollow and able to withstand the force of reason and gut scrutiny. Sometimes you just have gut feeling about stuff. The development and maintenance of good and sound life principles. That's objective number 3. Number 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions. 4 or 5 is to perform good actions. 6, to recognize true limits and true opportunities. 7, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. And 8, to keep our balance as the winds of life and the earthquakes shake. Keep trying to topple us down. Now, as I go through the principles, of which there are 35, I like to keep note of them to see if I can get all 35. Sometimes I stumble a little bit. Sometimes I miss one altogether. Sometimes I get them mixed up. Let's see. Starts with war, reason, homunculus, Anchorhold, home of good and evil, purpose, atomic principle, nature, pirate ride, maturity, social principle, family, public speaking, temperance, life will not go well, the horror show, that which must be born, the feast of offal, distraction, agency, and the great indifference, the best seat in the house, the restless man, the path of wildness, the great life adventure, the risk of avoiding risk, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, the season of philosophy, script writing, the bullseye aim, the uphill climb, arena and utility, nothing is enough, the principle of fun and being ready. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. I got them. All right. As for today, what do I do today? Oh, I've already got the list. I'll got it right here. First, I'm going to read and study a poem, which I did. I think I recorded it. I think that's good enough to capture out as a short video. Do the Good Life meditation. I'm doing that now. So, poem complete. Good Life meditation complete. Answer my YouTube, all comments on YouTube. I did that before I started the video. Answered all the comments on Meta. That includes Instagram and Facebook. Yep, answered all that. Answered all my email. I already did that. Going Alone, I have to update the one copy of Going Alone. There was one typo in there I noticed. So I'll do that later. Journal, I'll do that next. Reading, I'll do that next. Books to Juliana, I'll work on that. That means illustrating a little more. And then the Lyle's Brother videos. So I have about halfway through my list of things I'm going to do today. And I hope that I can get outside a little bit today and get a little more exercise. The last thing I need to do is to ready myself for death. Sounds so grave and sober, literally. That means I have to do 3 things. 1, ask myself, are my affairs in order? Yes, they are. My papers are sound. My documents are complete. Survivorship stuff is all in place. I'm ready to die. What that means is basically if I die, Yumiko and Emily won't have to struggle to figure everything out. There's a dot box in the closet. They're aware of it. And I gave that has instructions. And I even gave those instructions, made a copy of those instructions, gave them to Yumiko. She's got them at her desk. If I die, here's everything. All the bank accounts, all the passwords, everything's in there. So you don't have to worry about it. And I made sure they're all set up. All those accounts are set up so that she has access to. You won't have to worry about it. It's not in your name. 2, is my life's work, are my relationships sound? They're all sound. Except I could say my mom's not very sound, but that's because she doesn't want to have a relationship with me. So they're as sound as I can make them. 3, is my life's work done? You betcha. My daughter's grown. Her last college tuition is paid for. My book is done. I just have to make that one edit. It'll be really done. Yes, I'll make that edit first thing just in case I have a heart attack before lunch. I think I'm done for today's meditation. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care. I will move forward and up. I will rarely stop, and I will never